All set? Go ahead.
Hello, I'm a little old man. I like to sleep a lot, and I don't want to cause too much trouble. Someone left me here to die, but I don't want to. I want to live. I want to sleep inside for a little while. Do you have a space in your heart and in your home for me? All I want is a little dignity at the end of my days. It's easy for animal shelters to tug on our heartstrings by giving a voice to an old Labrador mutt named Grandpa. But what about all those other forgotten animals that aren't so lucky to have their pictures in a newspaper? Most sources agree that between 20 and 50 million animals will be experimented on in the United States laboratories this year. Now, I'd like you all to try to suspend any existing moral judgments you have about animal testing. Listen to the facts. In the following 3 parts, I will explain a brief history of animal experimentation, the currents, the legislature, and the ways animals are experimented on today. Starting in the late 18th century, the suffering and killing of animals by human hands became systematically documented. When a British Army surgeon pioneered a technique known as vaccination by injecting viruses into cattle. In 1908, 2 Italian researchers brought new possibilities to the world of animal experimentation when they completed what was considered the first successful vivisection. Vivisection is cutting into or dissecting a live body, and these 2 guys discovered that putting a spinal cord of a polio victim into 2 monkeys would then cause the monkeys to die of polio. Since then, animals have become commodities. Today they're bred into captivity to satisfy the demands of a market that will experiment on at least 68,000 animals in the United States today. So what kind of legal action has accompanied these sweeping changes? In 1966, the Animal Welfare Act was created to ensure humane experimentation. There are explicit procedures for buying, selling, breeding, transporting, housing, and disposing of animals. But the only instructions regarding the actual experimentation on the animals can be found in just a few lines of Section 13, subsection C, where it says, "The withholding of tranquilizers, anesthesia, or euthanasia when scientifically necessary shall continue only for the necessary period of time." The incredibly vague language throughout this document, pain, possible alternatives, scientifically necessary, it allows for nearly any experiment imaginable. Well, as long as the mutilated dog is not disposed of within 5 business days after the acquisition of such animal. In regards to legal protection, philosopher Jeremy Bentham once said, "The question is not can they reason, nor can they talk, but can they suffer?" Today, it seems like his words have been forgotten as we look at the 2 possible categories of animal experimentation. There's testing and research. In testing, the product in question is administered to an animal to examine the effects. The government legally requires certain agencies to test products on animals. There's the Environmental Protection Agency. They administer a lethal poisoning test where dogs are trapped in inhalation chambers and they pump in increasing levels of pesticides until the dogs die. Now, consumer product companies are not at all required to test cosmetics or household products, but they choose to pour chemicals into the clamped open eyes or shaved bodies of young rabbits. Research manipulates animals' bodies in order to gain scientific or academic knowledge. The laboratories that conduct this research operate in a wide variety of settings. There are hospitals that burn, blind, and staple cats. There are universities that give cancer to mice. Warehouses where chimps are slammed into brick walls riding rocket sleds. The funds come from all over the place, but the largest contributor, federal government. Every year, the National Institute of Health gives out hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars in grants to the vivisection industry. Now let's think back to old Grandpa. He only wanted a little dignity at the end of his days. Regardless of whether you remain vehemently opposed to all forms of animal testing or you are the scientist who sticks that needle in the little baby mouse's cornea, facts remain. There are at least 20 million animals that will die in the United States laboratories this year. But don't be upset. I mean, I'm sure that the researchers who, quote, simulated with baboons the kind of head injuries human beings receive in car accidents, they must have done so in the most humane way possible. I mean, after all, it is the only legal way to smash in a chimp's skull with a blunt object. Thank you.